game time. Game time. Game time. We winning, we winning, we winning, we winning. It's game time. Game time.
Welcome back to the Game Time Greatness Podcast. I'm your host and commissioner, Brandon Scott. And here with me today, I'd like to introduce to you the Game Time Greatness Season 10 champion, Ethan Wright! Woo! What you wearing there?
Oh, you know, just the league champion jersey.
Myles Gaskin. Let's see it. It looks beautiful. In the white, is there any specific reason you chose the white jersey for the Dolphins?
Well, you see, Myles Gaskin was wearing the white jersey when, you know, he just put up a calm, cool 33.9 fantasy points. 5 catches, 169 yards, and 2 touchdowns. No big deal.
Congrats. How's it feel being a 2-time champ?
Feels pretty great. GG5 and GG10 were some good years.
You're now on 2 sides of the trophy. That's my next goal.
Two sides.
I have
GG15 coming for you every 5 years.
I have 2 championships, but I am not on 2 sides of the trophy. So
currently, I'm the only one on 2 sides of the trophy, or only one on the second side, because Cole Bennett didn't put his name on the trophy, so he never won.
We'll have to get that done shortly, but
Cole, I got to call you out for a second. I collected our prize possession, our league trophy, on the front porch of a house. You know, pretty lack of care there for the league trophy. Just setting it outside in the weather. Anyone could have taken it. You know, there was a bunch of sticky stuff all over it, dust. It was pretty ill taken care of. Sorry, Cole. Had to call you out.
Yeah, that's kind of scary, leaving it on the front porch like that.
It's
all
like
right.
pure silver.
So in this podcast, we'll talk, obviously, a little bit about Ethan's championship. We probably won't spend too much time, as Ethan would like on it, just because it's so far away that we don't want to bore everybody.
Jerseys last forever.
That's true.
Sometimes.
Matt really disappointed Ethan by not getting the podcast out earlier, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But real quickly, we'll run through his team. Okay, so you had Kyler, Tyler Lockett, Amari Cooper, T.Y. Hilton, David Montgomery, Myles Gaskin, George Kittle, Robbie Anderson, Austin Hooper in a starting spot, actually.
Worked out?
I'd say a few of your MVPs, just looking at it, Baltimore defense was huge for you all year. Kyler Murray was huge. Obviously, he was kind of bad in the championships.
Kyler carried me when everyone else was bad, and then he decided to be bad, but it worked out.
James Robinson was an MVP. He didn't end up playing in your championship game, but
he was RB7 on the year, so pretty great until he got hurt the last week.
But yeah, anything else you want to say or brag about of your team before we move on?
I probably would have had a James Robinson jersey if he had played in the championship, but Gaskin, on a points per game basis, had like 16 points per game, I think, and was like RB 15 points per game.
And I'll say, Gaskin did not get replaced currently. This is after the draft, but Ethan
bought the jersey. We're in the 5th round, and he's still the starting running back, so we'll see how it goes.
And James Robinson, they drafted ETN in the 1st round. So
looks like I made the right choice.
Yeah. I think there's going to be some surprises that you picked Gaskin, because I think it's truly a trophy in the sense that he's the guy who put up the numbers at the championship week.
Could have picked Kyler, but he was pretty pitiful in the playoffs. Could have picked Lockett. He was hit or miss. Couldn't pick McCaffrey because he only played 3 weeks. David Montgomery was one that really could have been the pick, but I just didn't want a Bears jersey. And Dolphins jerseys look kind of cool.
For reference, Kyler Murray scored 15 in the championship and Lockett scored 7, for those of you wondering. Because I know there's a lot of votes for Lockett and a lot of votes for Murray.
Put up 34 and was like the reason I won. So.
All right, we got a heart-to-heart here with Jarvis. Jarvis did win the Toilet Bowl trophy. Was presented it at my wedding, I believe.
It was pretty legendary, and he was not happy about it.
I think he had to hold it in one of our pictures. But on the real, in the next 5 years, how many times do you see Jarvis being in the Toilet Bowl?
I'm going to say 2 out of 5.
I'm saying 3.
It should really be 3 out of 5, but I like Jarvis, so I'm going to say 2 out of 5. That doesn't mean he's bad.
Oh, it kind of means he's bad. Toilet Bowl 3 of 5 years is pretty bad. Like, I'm not saying...
How many times has he won it so far? Is this the only one?
I think it's his only win. I think it might be the only time he's been in it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because Jack's not here anymore. Mike tried, so...
All right, we'll run over potential keepers real quick. Ethan will start us off.
Potential topics. Keepers. Cole had a really great team. He was runner-up this year. Fun fact, I played Cole 3 times throughout the course of the season, and I was 3-0. So sorry to call you out again, Cole. Had a great season, just came up short, mainly because of these 2 players, Tyreek Hill and Derrick Henry. Very poor performances in the championship. I think about 10 points each. But one of those 2 guys is going to be his keeper. Either way, can't go wrong.
I'll go. Colin Holmes is going to keep Zeke. It's pretty much a no-brainer. Looking at the rest of his team, I think that's his only guy. I don't want to say that for sure, but it'll probably be Zeke.
Jake could go Kamara or Chubb. Probably going to be Kamara. Pretty good keeper. Was a stellar running back last year. Finished really high.
That's a luxury of riches right there, getting to choose between those 2. Noah, Devonte Adams. Obviously, it's a pretty obvious. We'll go into it later. It might not be as obvious as we thought it would be.
Maybe you shouldn't have put Julio on waivers, and now no one can keep him. Should have just given yourself some options there. Next, we got CeCe. I don't really remember who else you had, but you should keep Kelsey.
I think that's who he said he wants to as well.
Kelsey's he's a tight end, but he's probably going to go at the back of the first or early second next year. He was really great, and just to have that leg up on every tight end position you play is great.
Mike's going to keep Michael Thomas, and he's lucky he got to see without Drew Brees this year. So, Michael Thomas was probably better without Drew Brees this year. He scored like 20 points with Taysom Hill, and Jameis isn't going to be worse than Taysom Hill.
I don't know if he was good at all this year.
He was good. No, he was good with Taysom Hill. He scored 20 points a week.
0 touchdowns.
Doesn't matter if he scored 20 points. Who cares?
We'll see. I think he'll be good next year. I've been dynasty.
But either way, Mike's team, Michael Thomas, it's at least a little bit relaxing knowing he can be good without Brees.
Up next, Zach. I don't think he's going to be upset about this at all. Keeping Dalvin Cook. It's pretty great when you get to keep a top 3 running back. So nothing else to say there. Great keep.
I'll go ahead and I'm going out of turn here, but I'll say Ethan is keeping McCaffrey. Saving. I was going to save the best for last, but since you talked about getting to keep a top 3 running back, you get to keep the number 1 running back off the board.
It is pretty luxurious to be able to win the championship without McCaffrey playing all year and then get to keep him next year when he's another projected top 3 pick. So I'm excited about that one. On the other hand, Brandon has a couple running backs that he could choose between, Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Aaron Jones. He picked Clyde in the first last year. I thought it was going to be another great rookie first-round pick like Zeke was. It didn't end up that way. It was a pretty rough year usage-wise. Not so much a bad talent, just wasn't getting the carries.
Yeah, I'd tell you straight up, if they promised he was going to be the guy next year, I would keep him.
Yeah.
I think his talent's there. I think his pass-catching ability's there. His touchdown ability's there. But if he's not going to get used, if he's going to get used like this last year, heck no, I don't want to keep him.
He was a rookie, but it wasn't that he performed bad. It just wasn't getting the usage. So either that or Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones was great last year. With the Aaron Rodgers situation up in the air.
And A.J. Dillon. I think they want to get him more involved this year.
There's a reason they let Jonathan Williams go.
Jamal.
All
right, let's see. I'm up. Jarvis. This one, I thought it was going to be good for you at the end of the year, but because you could keep Carson, Jacobs, or Mahomes. Obviously keeping a quarterback is never great, but it might be your best option. He's going to be a stud. Carson, he's okay, but not really a keeper. Yeah. Josh Jacobs would be great, but they signed Kenyon Drake and paid him a lot of money, so it's kind of...
Jacobs looks like he could have been the keeper.
He would have been a perfect keeper if they didn't sign Drake.
I thought he was going to be great last year. Wasn't that great, but still keeper worthy until they signed Kenyon Drake. They have 2 of the top 10 highest paid running backs, by the way. My last guy is Matt. Matt had a lot of potential good players last year. He picked Jonathan Taylor kind of early in our redraft last year, and that's probably going to end up being his keeper. He started off really bad last year, but ended the season really hot. So if he can continue that, that'll be a good keep.
I'll throw it out and say he might keep Joe Mixon with Joe Burrow back, some O-line upgrades, a receiver upgrade. There's a potential there, but I don't know. I just realized I was like, oh yeah, he drafted Mixon first. Joe Mixon. And then lastly, Grant, obviously going to keep Saquon back to the top 3 pick. That's just,
RP ACL, but should be good.
They said he's on track to play week 1, so you're good to go. All right. Toughest spots for next year. Yikes. I'll let Ethan, I guess we can both agree it's me.
Yeah. Brandon and Jarvis probably have the worst 2 keeper spots that they're in. At least Jarvis could keep Mahomes and have the best player at that position.
The reason I said I'm the toughest spot is because I am currently in line for a bottom 3 pick. Jarvis
is in line for a top 3
pick, and I have one of the worst keepers and a bottom 3 pick. It's never a spot you want to be in.
Yeah. So probably Brandon takes home the trophy for worst starting spot for next year.
And then I'll say, so just bad keepers potentially. Matt, if Taylor doesn't stay hot, obviously he had a good end of the year, but he was not good at the beginning. If he does that, it's going to be a tough keeper.
No, we touched on this already. You're probably going to keep Devonte Adams. That's a good keep. He's a great player. He's elite with Rodgers. The only thing is he might have Jordan Love throwing to him next year, and we don't really know if Jordan Love knows how to throw a football. We haven't seen him play. We've seen him miss some targets in practice, so maybe he can throw Devonte Adams the ball. If not, you probably shouldn't have rage dropped Julio. He was kind of up and down for you last year, but he's still a great player. You should have at least kept your options open and kept him on your roster just in case.
All right, and then Colin, if Zeke is broken like he was at the end of last year, just like not the guy, and Pollard keeps getting carries, like that's going to be a tough keeper. If what happened at the end of last year, I don't think either of us think that's what's going to happen, but
I think he's going to bounce back, but he also fumbled the ball a lot. And
weird year for Zeke.
Yeah,
weird year.
Dak is coming back, so he should be all right, but we'll see.
And then lastly,
Jarvis.
We put because Rip. Yeah.
Sorry.
And then elite spots, Zach. Dalvin is currently a top 3 running back, and he currently has the pick number 1. So
Yeah,
I mean,
you
he could
have-
get his boy Tyreek potentially.
You're going to get a top 3 player, and then Tyreek Hill is sitting there for you, or Julio, or whoever else is left over. So that's pretty great.
All right, and then I put up some questions. Ethan hasn't seen all these, but I said rookies. Which quarterback will Grant pick up halfway through the season that will score him a bunch? Because Grant always seems to find that quarterback. Who do you think it's going to be?
Grant's pretty good at finding the random rookies that break out. This might be a little obvious. I'm going to go Trey Lance just because I think Trevor Lawrence is probably going to be on a roster. Zach Wilson, he's on the Jets, so he's not really worth anything. I think Trey Lance, with his rushing ability and in Shanahan's offense, could put up some good fantasy points. Maybe not consistently, but at least some boom weeks like he had with Herbert last year.
I'm going to say Justin Fields, and I know that's a crazy take. I don't think Justin Fields starts, even though it's Dalton. I think he probably comes in week 3. I mean, it's going to be early, I think. But I say Justin Fields comes in, and he has Allen Robinson, Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet. Like, he's coming into a pretty good situation. So if he just kind of gets that rookie hotness, and he has the rushing ability, so that's what I'm going to say.
The Bears are pretty bad just as an organization, so they're probably going to be losing some games, and they'll get fed up with Dalton. Not that Dalton's probably going to be performing okay, but all the fans are going to be calling for Justin Fields, so he'll get on the field eventually.
We'll jump to the most boring question. Who do you think the best rookie tight end is going to be? We both only know Kyle Pitts pretty much, so we're going to say
There's
Kyle
that
Pitts.
one guy that went in the second round.
Oh, that guy, yeah.
Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, okay. Which rookie running back will be drafted highest, and what round do you think they'll go?
Najee Harris will most definitely be the highest drafted rookie running back. And I'm going to say, well, in a redraft, I think he'll go in the second round.
Yes, yeah, sorry. So redraft, like if pick one
redraft, he'll
CMC.
go in the second round. And honestly, in our league, he might go in the second round. But to end of first, middle second, in that range somewhere?
Yeah, I think 1.10 or about basically Clyde's position onwards, depending on hype coming out of camp.
Yeah.
If hype's like, he's going to get all these catches, they can't wait to use him, I could see
The
him
hype
go
was pretty real for Clyde last year, and he where did you take
1.8.
him? 1.8. So he could go as high as 1.8.
So I think so. I think around there. But I think most
He's gonna be
likely
good.
I think most likely 2.4 makes a lot of sense.
Logically, but if he starts flying up the draft boards, I won't be surprised if he goes middle of the
Okay,
first.
I put which rookie running back will be an MVP down the stretch. So obviously, you can just pick Najee Harris if you want, but which player do you think from week 10 to week 16 is going to be like wow, like Myles Gaskin, for example? Like he wasn't that good early on. He wouldn't even play early.
Right.
I'm gonna say
Miles Gaskin would have been really good if he didn't get the COVID.
I'm gonna throw a quick kind of crazy one out there, and I'm gonna say Chuba Hubbard or however you say his name.
That's what I was gonna say.
If McCaffrey gets hurt,
I was gonna.
Hubbard could be an RB1. We saw Mike Davis, and I think Hubbard has at least as much talent as Mike Davis.
I agree. I was gonna say Hubbard and curse myself and say CMC is gonna get hurt again, and then he's gonna take over, and they're gonna trade McCaffrey and completely start rebuilding and trade Darnold and just implode the whole organization. But for the sake of picking someone else, I'm gonna say Travis Etienne, and James Robinson will either have an injury or they'll trade him.
Could just be pass catching. He gets all the catches,
Yeah.
and he gets.
Last year, Chris Thompson got a lot of reps in that same offense,
And he kinda
he's
blows.
immensely better than Chris Thompson. And they're saying that they're going to have this three-headed monster with Robinson, Carlos Hyde for some reason.
Hyde is not going to play.
Yeah, they're saying 1-2 punch with Robinson and Hyde, and then ETN on thirds. But you gave up a first-round pick for him. You're going to give him carries, and he's a good player.
I'll throw out a name. one more name since you kind of agreed with Hubbard. I'll say Javonte Williams, or however you say his name. I'm going to say he's going to be drafted by, like Noah, round 12. Going to get dropped by week 4. By week 8, he's going to be on a roster again. And by week 10, he's going to be like Cam Akers this year. I think like Melvin Gordon gets an injury or something, and he's just the guy with Aaron Rodgers in Denver, and he's elite. So
Aaron Rodgers in Denver. That'll really shake up the league there.
All right. Last 2 questions. Which rookie receiver will be most consistent, and which rookie receiver will have the most points? Because those are 2 different things.
Right.
Like A.J. Brown, his rookie year was had a ton of points, but he had 1 week of 40 and 1 week of 0.
I'm gonna say. Who did the Eagles take?
Devonte Smith.
Devonte Smith. I'm gonna say Devonte Smith finishes on top, just because there's a lot of targets missing in that offense. Jeffrey's gone. Deshaun Jackson is gone, even though he didn't play that much. They don't really have a go-to weapon aside from their tight ends in that offense, and he's already got that chemistry going with Jalen Hurts. So I'm gonna say Devonte Smith finishes on top.
What about most consistent?
Most consistent, maybe Jamar Chase, just because he's an elite talent, also has that chemistry going. And I don't think he's going to finish on top just because they do have other established options like T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd in that offense.
But you could see like a 10 points a week kind
I
of
could
thing.
see 10 to 15 a week coming from him.
I'm gonna go the opposite actually, not with Chase, but I'm gonna say Devonte Smith is my most consistent. I think that offense is gonna be depleted of weapons, and I think he's gonna get 7 to 8 targets a game, and 2 or 3 of them are going to be screen passes. So I think his floor is like 8 points, which for a rookie receiver is pretty insane.
He has a good opportunity to be consistent just because there's no one there.
But obviously he could be a monster just in general too. But I'm going to say highest points. I'm going to go with my boy Amari Rodgers. If Aaron stays in Green Bay, obviously that's up. It's completely void if Aaron's not there. But I could see Amari Rodgers coming on as a SWAT guy and just eating up the league if they're double covering Adams. So.
Also, Adams could be out a couple games, and it's going to be a couple games with him as the number 1.
I think Amari Rodgers is the type of guy that'll be better with Devontae though.
True. I don't think number 1.
Yeah, but either way, I agree.
I don't think he can handle that number 1 coverage, but the targets could be flowing his way if Rodgers is there. Basically, any of the top guys going to a good situation could put up in either one of those categories.
I think Waddle is my guy that I'm gonna label as a bust. I know that wasn't a question, and
you did say bust right off the draft, but then you realize that they do have Will Fuller and Waddle. They have 2 speedy stretch the field guys, and usually teams just have 1.
That made me like him a lot more, and I don't know why, because it's competition. But I feel like they're just gonna sling it with Tua, and they're just gonna say Tua, show us what you got, or we're gonna go get a new guy, basically.
There's 3 cases where a college quarterback and wide receiver are meeting back up in the NFL, and that's one of them with Waddle and Tua. They have Waddle, Will Fuller, Devontae Parker, Gesicki, and then what was the rookie tight end they just drafted? So they have 4 or 5 good options in that offense, plus Myles Gaskin.
It's not necessarily fair, but I think he's a lot like Henry Ruggs, super fast, small guy from Alabama, and it's like we saw that in a bad situation, going to a not that great quarterback, he's just not going to have the consistency or talent that you would like in fantasy. As a player, watching him destroy A&M, I think he could be really good in a few years.
He's a good player, so that's what happens.
With all the targets there, for fantasy, I don't see it. So I don't know why I brought him up, but I just was thinking about all the receivers.
Hey, he'll even play with a broken leg or whatever he had in the playoffs. So.
But yeah, I think that's it. I guess, would you like to say anything else to all the haters that doubted you for the past few years in fantasy?
Look, I've had a rough couple years. Hadn't won a championship in 5. I don't think I'd been in the playoffs in 3 or 4. I was getting a lot of hate, getting a lot of doubters saying that if I miss the playoffs one more year, I should be up to get kicked out of the league or some sort of crazy punishment. I'll just have you know, highest points in the league, highest wins in the league. I think I was out of first place maybe one time. Dominated. And no McCaffrey. I don't even need a first-round pick.
Just so we know for future, because we didn't mention this during the podcast, but we may forget about this. I lost the league because Josh Allen took a knee in week 13, and so I tied. I took a tie in a league that goes to the 100th place of scoring to Michael Baker, because Josh Allen took a knee, lost 0.01 points or whatever it was, 0.1. Took the tie. And if you would have looked at the numbers, I would have won the championship. And in fact, it would have been the most heartbreaking loss Ethan's ever faced. On Monday night of Week 16, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs combined for over 80 points.
Yeah, if you go through all the scenarios, and you look at what would have happened if Brandon had gotten the bye instead of me, if I had lost the bye, I still would have made it to the championship. We would have been opposite sides of the bracket. Brandon with the number 1 seed bye. We would have met in the championship. I can't remember what the final score would have been, but I would have.
It would have been close too.
So it would have been pretty heartbreaking.
But either way, congrats. I can say this now. I'll never fully be over it, but I'm over it enough to say congrats. You deserve it.
Fun fact, championship week, I was actually in Montgomery at Abby's parents' house, and first time they ever really met me, I'm screaming at the TV because I'm in the championship.
Because Miles Gaskin's going crazy.
Miles Gaskin's going crazy,
and that's when I knew.
Shut it off.
That's when you knew you needed the jersey.
Yes, that's the reason I have the jersey. I shut off the TV to see what Tyreek Hill and Derrick Henry would do, and it worked out, and here we are.
Well, I think that's it. You have anything else left to say?
That's it. Looking forward to the new season. Keep doing your mock drafts because I know, Jarvis, you've been doing a lot of them. I know it. You're really going to come back this year and surprise us all. Maybe even win the consolation bracket. Who knows?
Anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in. Congrats to Ethan. We'll see you guys when it gets closer to draft season and we kick off the pod again.
Later, guys. Thanks.